Monday morning was a difficult morning, full of mixed emotions, sadness, loss for many people. We woke up to the largest, let me get the wording right, mass shooting in modern U.S. history. Many of us, like I said, felt sad. We were confused as to how this series of tragedies, from earthquakes to hurricanes, and now this, can keep occurring. We're confused, and in the time of our confusion, we ask the popular question of why? Why does this keep happening? How unfair life is for those who are experiencing those tragedies, whatever they might be. How, in specific for Monday, how unfair life is for those families, for those people who experience what they experienced, the people who had passed away, and for their friends and their loved ones to experience that loss. How unfair can life be? How many of us, and even in our own tragedies, feel that same way? Ask those same questions. And sometimes, even in our deepest thoughts, we even begin to question how God could allow this to happen. And why is this happening to us, and why is He allowing it? And the answer to bring us at ease is this, and it's found in today's gospel. We hear of a woman who had that same feeling. This woman was a widow. This woman just lost her only son and was walking in a burial procession around the city when Jesus had saw her. And essentially, this woman hit her rock bottom. She lost everything that meant to her. And it is in this darkest moment Christ comes to her. And we hear those beautiful words of compassion. Do not cry. Those beautiful words of compassion. And it is out of His love that He says to the son, young man, I say to you, arise. And the dead man, the son, stood up and began to speak. And He gave him to his mother. There is no doubt in my mind that compassion is one of the most powerful things in the universe. And we hear today in this gospel in so many different ways that power. And that power comes from the love that is shown. The widow wept because she lost her loved ones. She lost her son and her husband. And this love transformed something. And the power of love can transform the meanest and even most angry people in the world. Why? Because we also hear in the gospel that people from the city were walking around. And back then the tradition was, if one of the people of the city had passed away, the city, whether you knew the person or not, would join in the burial procession. So even strangers are showing that same love and compassion. We cannot go at the same time without emphasizing Christ's love that's shown and that power. Because there was a great power in His presence comforting the mother. There was a great power in His touch when He touched the coffin or the young man. And it was a great power in His voice when He said the simple words of, arise. We hear that next thing afterwards are the tears. And the tears move us to be compassionate. When we see our loved ones cry, our first inner instinct is to react, is to do something, whether it's to make them laugh or to make them move their minds away from the focus of whatever's making them cry. It's our natural instinct to be able to react like that. When Christ saw this mother in the burial procession and said those beautiful, beautiful words of, do not cry, and went to her side and acted. The tears had a power to move in a way that the words, even in the English, don't describe with the simple word of compassion. And in the Greek, the original word that's used is splagnizomen, which comes from the simple word of splagna, and it means our actual inner organs when speaking of like anatomy. And the way that we use our terms even in our phrases, from the bottom of my heart, my gut feelings, those aspects, this is that splagnizo. That's that emphasis of compassion. And that's the only word that we could find to translate it to. So here we are talking about our deep and most inner feelings that we feel, and compassion, those difficult emotions that we might have felt on Monday as we woke up. And all we could do is have compassion from our innermost ability, from our innermost body, our hearts, anything, our minds. And we had compassion. We see many times, especially nowadays, people will post things on Facebook, prayers for Vegas, prayers for this, prayers for that. And that's a beautiful thing, because people come together, whether they're far away, and at least they offer prayers. But the important part is the intent. It has to be coming from our innermost body, our innermost heart, our gut, our feeling. That's when it's true prayer in the same essence. So you can't just post something and just say what it is, but really, truly say a prayer for them. That's offering. That's almost our part in entering that burial procession. Being able to think about those around us and the difficulties that they might be dealing with, whatever it is, even if it's from tragedy to a loss, even with the people around us with the hurricane, or it might just be a daily occurrence of something. We have that ability to show compassion. It's in our challenge today that we have to look into the world and see it for what it is. Because we live in a compassionless world, or we're at least taught to be that way for some reason. But we have the ability to change that. And the beauty is found in today's gospel, where we're allowed to pray for others, where we're allowed to give our hearts to others, where we're allowed to have sympathy, to be able to feel, in essence, what other people feel and not have it be confused with anything else. We have that ability, and that's our challenge moving forward. Keep praying for the world. Do our part within our society to change all of these things, because as the popular saying is we should be the change we want to see in the world. This gives us that opportunity moving forward. Amen.